They appeared on the Earth 150 million years before the dinosaurs. They can smell blood over a half a mile away. Their eyes are 10 times more sensitive to light than ours. Their bodies are covered with sensors. They have a sixth sense that can detect the electricity of life itself. Shark. The 375 known species of shark range in size from the biggest fish in the sea to a creature small enough to hold in your hand. They don't have a bone in their bodies. Some dive deeper than seals and whales. They've certainly dived into the human imagination. They were the first creatures to give birth to live young. They are one of the Earth's most ancient animals and one of the most misunderstood. Because people are sometimes attacked by sharks, even eaten alive, some cultures have demonized them. Others have enshrined them as gods. But until recently, no one sought to understand them. Wherever sharks are found, relics rise to the surface. Teeth and jaws, harpoons and nets, tools of hunted and hunter. But which is which? In the Pacific, the bounty of the ocean inspired island peoples to revere the shark and his queen, Kuhahupa. She was a fair-haired girl who became a goddess when she married the shark god of the sea. Now Kuhahupa lives in a cave at the entrance to Pearl Harbor, where she makes peace between shark and human, protecting both. Missionaries in Fiji were amazed to find islanders who believed that to kiss a shark disarmed it and made it harmless to man. Twice a year, sharks were caught and kissed. The creatures became benign. It appears the story was true. A kiss disarms a shark. There is another image lurking in the murky depths of our imaginations, the image of nightmares. A damaged surfboard, the only clue left at the scene of a shark attack. Who done it? The investigation begins. We start with a disadvantage. We know so little about sharks, but that's changing. Recently, scientists have been doing the detective work. We think we know what a shark looks like, but beyond the image fixed in our minds, they come in a wide variety of colors and shapes. There are still so many mysteries to solve. For instance, this basking shark seems to disappear in winter. Where does it go? This one, the megamouth, further illustrates our lack of knowledge. It was discovered in 1976. A shark this big, and we didn't even know it existed. Our observations of sharks are often crude and misinformed. Part of the problem lies in where we observe them. Being creatures of the open sea, they don't always behave naturally in the cramped quarters of an aquarium. First-hand accounts often do vary. In this old French engraving, the artist concocted a shark with the tail of a thrasher and the gills of a great white. We get things wrong because the shark's world is alien to us. We must rely on artificial devices like this cage to help us observe. We are the fish out of water. And for most people, what we don't understand, we fear. In Japanese mythology, sharks are a symbol of terror. So in World War II, fighter planes were painted with shark jaws to instill fear. Even in more popular mythology, the shark is depicted as a villain. But the shark is not the only victim of our ignorance. There are many creatures in the ocean we know little about, and because of our fear of the unknown, we've turned them into sea monsters too. The octopus and the harmless ray. But gradually, scientists are filling in the once blank pages in our story of shark. This is the baby horn shark, a bottom-dwelling species. To protect its eggs from predators and from drifting with the currents, the horn shark lays her eggs in spiral drill-like cases and deposits them in nest sites or wedges them between rocks. Another egg-laying shark is the chain dogfish. To protect her pair of eggs, she attaches them to a base, winding them into position with long tendrils so they're safe and secure. Most shallow water and bottom-living sharks lay eggs. Here the eggs will stay for the next 6 weeks as the embryos develop. Once hatched, the baby shark swims away. Immediately after birth, all sharks are on their own. Very little is known about the shark's mating behavior. It's hardly ever been seen. The courtship ballet of these white tips is a rare sight. An even rarer sight is the actual birth itself. Most sea creatures lay eggs, but open ocean sharks like this bonnethead deliver live young, a method that first evolved in sharks and became common to all mammals. The lemon shark seeks the shelter of a coastal lagoon to give birth. The young will remain here for several years before venturing into the ocean. The shark's sophisticated diversity below the water is reflected in its many roles above. The breadfruit is a staple crop for Polynesians. A likeness of a shark is hung to protect the fruit from thieves. Half scarecrow, half evil omen, it proclaims, "Steal from this tree and the shark will eat you." In legends throughout the Pacific, only the volcano is more powerful than the shark. Early Hawaiians believed they both possessed destructive and life-giving forces. It was Pele the volcano and his brother Komoho Ali'i the shark who gave each other life. The shark is also a potent symbol of fertility. In the Pacific Islands, it's widely held that a barren woman who dreams about a shark gives birth to a child with magical properties. And perhaps sharks do have magical properties. They rarely suffer from cancer, another unsolved mystery. Shark liver oil contains 10 times more vitamin A than cod liver oil. Some shark skins have been found to contain a powerful antibiotic. If the thought of kissing a shark is strange, think about the shark oil in some lipsticks and other beauty products. And there's nothing romantic about shark fin soup. Fishing for fins means slaughtering sharks. Polynesians believed that a shark was the soul's last resting place, the ultimate incarnation. Living in such close proximity to island and coastal peoples, the shark earned more than their respect. It was invested with magical powers. Solomon Islanders believed that charms in the shape of the creature protected their nets from damage. And the shark was deified. That's why Kuahupa is worshipped. But eons before humans were around to place shark heroines on underwater pedestals or put shark villains on the silver screen, sharks made their debut on the evolutionary stage. Scientists who delve into the deep and distant past have discovered that sharks first appeared in the Book of Life about 400 million years ago. A warm sea without fish, but teeming with other life forms, some fragile and delicate, some pulsating with little form. Others drifting colorfully. For some, it was a life of floating with the currents. For others, it was a life of scurrying and crawling, such as this trilobite. Then the hagfish, a jawless creature, evolved with a cylindrical body and a crude backbone. And then another with jaws, and a tough skin made of the same material as its teeth. Many of these early creatures became extinct, but their fossils provide signposts, directing us toward their modern descendants. Artists have attempted to reconstruct them so we know what they looked like. Living deep in the ocean's shadowy twilight is the shark's oldest relative, also an egg layer. It's such an ancient fish, it's been called a living fossil. The dogfish, one of the earliest sharks, first swam onto the scene 200 million years ago, and still journeys on. Long before bony fish, whales, and dolphins, shark was born. Part of its long success is its skeleton. Made entirely of cartilage, it's lighter and more flexible than bone, giving the shark more speed and maneuverability. Unlike other fish, it doesn't have a swim bladder, which led to another misconception. Until recently, we thought all sharks had to keep moving forward to breathe. But at rest, some sharks can pump water quite efficiently through their gills. Like dinosaurs and mammals that evolved much later, sharks developed into hundreds of different species. By diversifying, they avoided competing for the same food, and each found its own niche in the sea. Some shark designs are familiar. Others come in unique patterns, shapes, and sizes. There are even flat sharks, like the bottom-dwelling sawfish shark with its tooth blade that slashes through fish. And the totally flat angel shark, also known as a monkfish. A shark swimming is grace itself. As hunter of the open sea, it is perfectly adapted. Streamlined bodies, fin position, and tail design enable it to master acceleration, cruising, and speed swimming. The side-to-side sweep of the tail fin drives the shark forward, but also pushes the head down. To counteract this motion, sharks developed large pectoral fins. Human designers borrowed the shark's hydrodynamics and applied it to submarines. Evolution expanded the raised pectoral fins to such an enormous degree, they cruise through the water like giant birds in slow-motion flight. Millions of years after sharks perfected their streamlined design, humans took it to the air. Even Shakespeare got in on the act. In Macbeth, he had witches add to their brew the maw and gulf, or stomach and throat, of the raven salt sea shark. But it's the shark's dorsal fin that provides the best known and most menacing image, synonymous with the killer. And what's the killer's motive? The same as ours when we pick up a knife and fork: to eat. Tiger sharks are only seen in these waters when the albatross fledglings first try to take to the sky. Although some may get away, the sharks always know when and where in the vast ocean to come for the next albatross buffet. Like man, most sharks are omnivorous with a varied diet. When food is scarce, they've even got an internal rationing system, a way of preserving food in the stomach to delay digestion. And they're famous for swallowing strange things, mainly because they bite anything to see if it's edible. Some evidence suggests that sharks don't even like human flesh. In the 16th century, a sailor was swallowed whole. then regurgitated live. Seals are popular food for some of the biggest sharks. Once they've found their prey, they strike. From a shark's point of view, a seal and a surfer look much the same, so sometimes mistakes are made. If there's one thing that's earned sharks their fearsome reputation, it's their teeth. Say jaws to anyone, and they'll know whose dental work you're referring to. The main reason a shark's teeth remain so sharp is that they're constantly being replaced. New teeth wait row upon row and move forward like a dental conveyor belt, replacing those that are damaged and worn. Their entire skin is armed to the teeth, covered in tiny denticles like chain mail. Different sharks have different teeth. The tiny cookie-cutter shark has the largest teeth relative to body size and bites cookie-sized chunks from whales. Tiger sharks have dual-purpose teeth. The pointed tip impales, the serrated bottom edge cuts. Together, they can bite clean through a turtle's shell. The sand tiger shark has jagged dog-like teeth and often swims around looking dangerous with its snaggle-toothed mouth open. The basking shark has tiny teeth and filters thousands of tons of water an hour, catching microscopic seafood with its gill rakers. The megamouth also uses its gill rakers like nets, trapping food in row upon row of tiny bristles. Even the biggest fish in the sea, the whale shark, prefers shrimp to bigger fare, such as scuba divers. The manta ray is also a filter feeder. Dining at night, it processes enormous volumes of water and flips over a good meal. The classic shark image, the great white feeding on flesh and feeding our fears. Powerful neck muscles thrash the head side to side as the teeth slice through meat and bone. But what we see in films is not normal behavior. The water is often baited to attract sharks and drive them into a feeding frenzy. The great white, unlike some sharks, doesn't have protective eyelids, so they roll their eyes back when biting into a victim. They are swift and efficient predators. They have razor-sharp teeth. Their gape is huge, and their teeth, in independently moving jaws, almost jump out of their mouth, striking with force greater than an axe splitting wood. Ironically, far more people have died from shark teeth wounds inflicted by weapons than from sharks themselves. In Europe in the Middle Ages, they were used as a very different kind of weapon. It was thought fossilized shark teeth could detect poison in food and wine. But in this case, a shark has killed, and the whodunit investigation continues. The motive, food. The victim, an unsuspecting surfer. Could it have been a beluga whale? Or a humpback whale? Not likely. The biggest thing they can eat is a small fish. What about a killer whale? They eat sharks, but people? Unlikely. Time to re-examine the evidence. Exhibit A, teeth marks. Definitely the work of a shark. But which species? The horn shark? No, too small. What about the bamboo shark? No, they have an alibi. They only crawl along the ocean floor. The woebegone? Afraid not. Only bites when it's stepped on. The history of shark surveillance has a dubious record and is filled with dubious mugshots. Shark observation and description improved somewhat in the 1930s when Professor Beebe, an American scientist, went down half a mile in a bathysphere, but he still found it difficult to observe sharks. The old-fashioned way for divers to reach the underwater realm was not easy. The equipment was heavy and cumbersome. But it did get them where they wanted to go, and they did see sharks and rays, even if they didn't completely understand them. Rays are close relatives of sharks, but their spines, also made of cartilage, are not as flexible. It's their fins which drive them through the water. Because they're flattened, they have spiracles or holes on the top of their heads that help them breathe and pump water through their gills. They have long tails, and their gill slits are under the body as opposed to the sides. They come in various sizes and shapes. The eagle ray is one of the fastest and speeds through the water with its powerful fins and long tail. There are more than 400 species of rays. Some of them almost appear to have faces. The manta ray is the biggest of them all. In the past, its huge fins and long tail earned it the name devilfish. But its size and its alien appearance were just a red herring. Like the shark, it was falsely accused. Now we know the manta ray is a simple plankton eater, harmless to man. Today, computer technology is used to improve our understanding of sharks, giving us a more accurate picture of their behavior. Radio tracking allows us to follow these elusive animals. We now know some sharks dive 20 times deeper than dolphins, 4 times deeper than sperm whales. Some even dive into the zone of perpetual darkness. Sharks take more than radio transmitters along for the ride. The remora has a sucker on the top of its head, which it uses to attach itself upside down to a fish, such as the shark. The shark doesn't seem to mind. The remora eats parasites from its skin. Remoras have even been used to catch sharks. Use a fish to catch a fish. The Melanesian islanders of Kontu attract sharks with rattles made of coconut shells. To the shark, it sounds like a struggling fish and possible prey. The caller believes the shark is good-natured enough to be caught, and even though he kills it, he believes the shark to be his spiritual equal. No human is a shark's equal when it comes to their sensitivity to sound. They sense vibrations along their entire body through tiny pores, directing them toward the prey before they even see it. Beyond the 5 senses we know, a shark possesses another. All life generates electricity. Special jelly-filled pores on the shark's snout enable it to pick up the weakest of signals, even a heartbeat. These electrical sensors guide them towards their prey. They see in color and have an acute sense of smell. Armed with this array of super senses, targeted prey has little chance of escape. The angel shark probably uses its eyes to catch its food. The hammerhead's sense of smell and electric sensors are spread over the broad surface of its head. It acts like a metal detector, sweeping the ocean floor for fish. More information makes us better equipped to identify the killer. 5 suspects remain in the lineup, the 5 sharks with a record for attacking people. The tiger shark. The blue shark. The great white. The oceanic white tip, and the bull, the only species known to swim up rivers and tolerate fresh water. The size and shape of the bite narrows the field to one. There's no dusting for prints underwater, but the killer left a clue, a brutal bite that only one mouth can match, the mouth of the blue shark. Identifying the culprit confirms our deep fear of sharks. Nightmarish images still linger. Despite our growing knowledge, humans continue to demonize and destroy sharks. To swim at the edge of the shark's domain, we net thousands of miles of beaches, killing enormous amounts of marine life in the process. In one way or another, we kill over 100 million sharks in 1 year, while sharks only kill on average 7 people a year. We're far more likely to be killed by lightning than by a shark. The oceans remain an alien realm to most of us, but Polynesian fishermen tell a different story. We never fish for sharks. The shark is a person with us. We are related. He is our brother. They are familiar to us. We never eat them. We adore them, and they don't hurt us. We swim with them, and they don't hurt us. Unlike most fish, the shark cannot swim backwards. Its pectoral fins don't allow it. As it swims forward into an uncertain future, its existence depends on human understanding. The shark, ancient creature of the seas, is living proof of eons of successful evolution. Whether hero or villain, whether worshipped or feared, the supreme marine predator swims on.